Hello, everybody. This is a Lamley showcase. All Hot Wheels Fast and Furious. And maybe some of you are saying, oh, the dead horse beating continues. Well, what are you going to do? Fast and Furious has been all over the place in 2023 for Hot Wheels, and they've taken an interesting approach. So I'm dedicating this entire video to the very interesting new castings that have come out over the last year in 3 different distributions, 3 different sets they've put out, including this 10-pack. And then we're going to talk about some of the modifications they've done and rank what I think are the best models. This is outside of premium that they've done. Why do I have a premium model here? Well, I thought about opening this one with these sets that we're going to showcase today. But this is my point, is we're doing a Fast and Furious video today. We're doing a Whatnot giveaway on the 23rd, September 23rd, for those of you who are watching this before then. I'm going to be giving away a ton of Fast and Furious stuff, including a lot of these sets, these basic sets that we'll be showcasing today, as well as this set and some other things. It's going to be awesome. I'll put a link down in the description of the video, and that's going to be on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, so you definitely want to be part of that. But I'm not opening this one because, A, I'm going to give one of them away. I have 2. I'm going to give one away, and then I'm going to open one with the premium set that is coming to me that's going to be out very, very soon. I'm going to be previewing that. Mattel sent it over, so I figured I'd open this one with the other premium Fast and Furious models. That includes that Supra that has been showcased that has the same deco as this. And a lot of people have lots of thoughts about that. Doesn't matter, they're all going to be picking it up anyway. But let's get to it. Very interesting approach that, Hot Wheels has done premium, then it seemed like they were not going to do premium again, but then the movie came out. This is a lucrative license for Hot Wheels. Obviously, they keep putting a lot of things out. Some of us who've been collecting a long time think it is a little overkill. At the same time, there's always new collectors and there's always someone to collect these, and they seem to be flying off the shelves no matter when and where they're released. So we might argue on our comments on social media, but our dollars are definitely suggesting that Hot Wheels should continue to do Fast and Furious, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So they did the premium sets this year, still a lot of repeats, and then they did these kind of like, I'd say, upgraded basic sets. This is the 10-pack that they did. Some of them are exclusive. Some castings have been modified. You can tell they've put a lot of money into these because there are some brand new castings. There's been some moving from premium to basic. We'll talk about that in a second. And then there's even, there's been just some upgraded models for that matter. So we're going to talk about that. And as we go, we're going to talk about the most interesting models. We're going to showcase those, and then we'll talk about the best ones. So this set came out. I think Amazon had it. I don't know what else had it, but this is a 10-pack. And this kind of gave us a sense, this is one of the first things to come out, and this gave us a sense of what was going to be coming from Mattel, mainly because these models, we saw the Eclipse and the Sylvia, the S15, actually, and for that matter, well, this has already turned basic, the Grand National, but the Charger I don't think had, and so we saw several models go from premium to basic. This was another one. 4 models in this set that had gone from premium to basic. The Charger, I can try and get it out. I can show these real quickly. The Charger was a nice one. Nice seeing that basic. Nice seeing that it went just jet black. We saw this on a card. We'll showcase that in a little bit. Same thing with the Sylvia. Boy, that's hard to do. S15 Sylvia, we saw this one. I mean, it's been premium. It's the same casting. It just gets a plastic base, all of a sudden plastic wheels. Deco is essentially the same. These are more than, they cost more obviously, but these were more, there was more budget put into these. As you can see, they have full detail. Now, the stripe on this one didn't go like the premium, but it did get headlights and taillights, and I think all of these did. And the other one is the, let me try and put this here, is the Eclipse, and we'll talk about this one a little bit too. This one went from premium to basic as well. I'm going to talk about the 2 exclusives. I would say that these are highlights for sure. This is the Black Skyline. We saw this, it premiered basically several years ago in the very first premium mix. That's where this R32 casting debuted, and it also debuted as a basic the same year, almost at the same time, to be honest. And this is the first time we've seen it go from, what was that premium all black rims version. Now we see it as an exclusive in basic, right? Basic wheels, basic base. I'm going to get all mixed up saying all this stuff, but it's a very, very cool model, and it's definitely a highlight of this set. I'm going to put this in here, and we'll talk about the best ones as we go. Let's talk about this one, too. This is the Dodge Charger, the modified Charger from one of the more recent movies, Dom's Charger. This one done. I love this casting in premium. It doesn't have the same effect, it seems, in basic, but it's still nice, and it is exclusive to this set, and those are the two. Obviously, the Eclipse and the S15 seem to get the most attention, but they also were released in the carded sets that we're going to go over here in a second as well. As a matter of fact, we can talk about that. Here we go. These are the carded sets. You know, I was under clouds, now I'm under the sun, and I think that's going to remain for at least a little bit. So sorry for the glare. I'll try and keep it out of here. But these sets were interesting because a lot of repeats. So for those of us long-term collectors and a lot of you long-term Fast and Furious collectors, there was a lot to, I don't know, not get too interested in. There was that Charger. There was this Escort, which you've seen released various times. We did get some upgraded. I think this one started as a basic, went to premium. Now it's back as a basic in the Fast and Furious set with some modifications to it. So that's one that, and it actually kept its metal base. We did showcase this set several months ago, actually. Another repeat from the set. These are the cars. There's, you know, I classify the Fast and Furious cars as those that are very much unique to the movie with unique decos. This is one that is probably the opposite of that. I love the Torino casting. It did get a fairly clean, you know, this could be a Fast and Furious model. This could just be a cool car on the street as well. And I've always liked that casting. So that's one that I probably put in the collection. But then there's the models that are the castings that I like, but maybe not the deco per se, but at least we're getting the casting. There's that Charger we were talking about in the carded models. This is the first mix. In fact, you can see Series 1 with the red on top. That's just one thing to look for. We'll show the other ones. Still going. Here are the cars that I think. There was this one with, then there are cars with new decos that we've talked about. This is one of them. We haven't seen a Fast and Furious car, at least a Challenger, in this orange color. So this is one of the unique ones. I forgot to pull one out and put it on the turntable. But, you know, another one. I like this one because it could be, it's obviously a Fast and Furious car, but it could also be just a muscle car, right? In orange. And we've seen kind of versions of that one before. The most significant models from this set, as we've already talked about, the S15 Silvia on the card, also in the set. So you can see it on the turntable. Again, very cool car. A casting now that I assume we'll start seeing in the basic range kind of pop up here and there. Obviously, I'm sure we're going to see repeats of this one in the Fast and Furious sets. So fresh on one hand, not fresh on the other. In some cases, I like what they've done. In this case, why collect this one when you have the premium? Casting I'm going to collect, so I'm sure that there'll be basic versions of this will go into the collection. That one is okay. The Eclipse, we've seen some images of the Eclipse casting in premium finally donning something other than the Fast and Furious deco. But right now we're still seeing this in its basic transformation into the in Fast and Furious as a basic model as well. Same casting, same deco. It's been released, what, 3 times in premium now, as this is the first time in basic. And it's okay. I don't like the deco, but it is significant, right? Because it's a significant model from the Fast and Furious set. So that was the first set. Well, no, we're not even done. The model that I think is the most significant was this one. Casting that we've seen how many times? I don't know, released how many times in Fast and Furious, but in the orange deco, there's that kind of tan brown deco. Then, of course, we had the very significant Paul Walker tribute car, you know, that was the in the movie, and Hot Wheels replicated it. Beautiful, beautiful model in all white with the clean deco. We've seen it replicated, not necessarily for Fast and Furious, but in premium for the Toyota set. But this has always been, I think, one of the best executed, well, one of the cleanest executed models from Fast and Furious. I'll go ahead and park that one here. And this one seems like now we've got kind of the opposite. This is from the Fast 5. I don't even remember when and where and how it was in the movie. But we get this beautiful, clean black version to replicate the white one. It does get those intakes. I think they're kind of intakes on the hood. Really hard to see because they're just done in matte black over the gloss black in this model. But this one is another one that, Fast and Furious or not, it's a fantastic model. And I think one of the best releases of this line in 2023 for sure. So I'm going to add that to the pile. In fact, we can add it right there too. And I think that's been replicated among collectors because that Supra seems to be the first car that's gone from the sets that I've seen in store. Speaking of seeing in store, I haven't seen Series 2 in store at All. This is Series 2. It's in green. A lot of other repeats. This is the Charger Daytona. We've seen a lot. I'm going to try and go through this a little quicker. We've definitely seen the Porsche a lot. So for those who didn't get it, they can get it. Have we seen this one a lot? Or is that new? I'm just kidding. I think this is the 338th release of this R34 in this deco. But it's still the first car to go. I mean, Hot Wheels knows what it's doing. And we just do it. Here's a model that started as basic, went to premium. Now it was in premium in that kind of original Fast. This is the #1 car. Deco. Now it's back as a basic. Kind of nice for you Fast and Furious collectors. Maybe RX-7 collectors for someone like me. Not terribly significant. Kind of like the Sylvia and the Eclipse. Same thing with this one. The Jag casting is cool. It's better as a premium, and it was released as a premium. Now we had it as a basic. It looks really good. In fact, the wheels are better on this one, I think. But a cool set. I think we showcased this one. A cool car. What else? Here's another one that started as premium, went to basic. We've seen it in basic, and now we see it as just the Black Grand National. Nice car. Same thing. Great car for just car collectors. But when you have the premium, I don't know if there's much to do about that one. Trying to pull out these others. And then here's another one that's a repeat from several years ago, actually, is the Dodge Challenger drift car. I think we've seen this casting a couple times. I think it was the drift car casting. Am I correct on that one? You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. But that's one that we have seen before as well. 3 essentially new castings. I think one totally fresh new casting, and that is the Chevy El Camino from Fast X. I haven't seen Fast X. I did see that it dropped on Peacock, and I have that, so maybe I will watch it so I can see the cars that are used in here. So I have no context for this one, but it's a very, very cool car, and it's a very, very cool casting as well. I brought it out so you can see it on the turntable. Just really cool in the matte black, nicely detailed. Again, Fast and Furious or not, that's just a beautiful model. These castings that are new or like pretty significantly modified, I am going to put in the Lamley Awards for the basic new castings. If I separate them, if I need to separate them, I will. But that one will go into that new casting pile with the other basic models. Another one that I think is new, modified, but significantly modified. I wish I had another version of this casting, but I don't, because I never liked the Lamborghini Murcielago casting. The old one, it was kind of boxy, kind of weird looking. This one has been redone. If you look at the base, 2022 by Mattel. And I think looks really, really good. Enough that I think this is significant enough to be considered a new casting as well. You guys can tell me if you think otherwise. But one that we will definitely put into the pile. I'm going to move these back like this because we're going to be putting more. And I'll put that right there as well in the significant pile. But the car that everyone wants, and this set has been hard to find, maybe it'll show up soon in more numbers, but has been highly, highly sought after by collectors, is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. This casting, I think, is also considered a modified casting. We've seen this car done by Hot Wheels, but done kind of in that kind of, 15 to 20-year-old era when it just wasn't as well detailed. And we now see this one done, and it looks really, really good. Just it looks more complete than the older casting. This one is from Tokyo Drift, right? Yeah. So Tokyo Drift, another significant casting, I think, and one that I would consider new as well, and might get some votes for best new casting of the year if we put it up against some of the basics. We'll have to see. So that was Series 2. Now there's Series 3. Now I've heard some of you, I haven't seen it in stores, but I've heard some of you finding Series 3 in stores and in the United States. And again, full of some repeats, but some significant, and I mean really significant new models. So we can go through some of them. I think we've seen that one about 800,000 times. I think we've seen this one 800,000 times, but the same thing. It's always significant when it's released. I collect all the S2000s, so I will be adding that one to my S2000 collection, but we have seen it several times. One that's gone from premium to basic. Casting that started basic went premium. Now we see the basic version of it, like several others, is the Acura NSX from F9. Not enough for me to open or feature, but a significant one, I think. And then one that we've seen released 2 or 3 times is the AMG GT, 2015 Mercedes AMG GT, which looks good. But yeah, nothing that definitely consider a repeat. Oh, one other that's considered a repeat from way back in the first series, and I don't know if we've seen it. Yeah, I think we've seen it once or twice since, is the Nissan GTR. This is the first casting of the GTR. Just making sure, yeah, it's still 2008. Maybe it has a 2012 on there as well. They've had the newer casting, which I think is better, but yeah, that one is from the very first mix. And now we see like the second or third version of that one. But there are some significant models, including one very, very new casting. But let's do a car that we haven't seen in the Fast and Furious line before, and this is the 69 Camaro. We've seen the casting done before, but we haven't seen it done in this deco from Fast and Furious, from the original. It's kind of nice to see. Looks good in red, number 1 on it, has some Camaro stripes. It's a real clean looking car. I didn't know how significant it was, but then I'm like, you know what? It is significant because we haven't seen a version of this car before, so we're definitely going to add it into the pile here. Next one that I think is significant, a modified casting, is the Datsun 240Z Custom. Now, I had to do some compare and contrast here. I'll show you the card first. And you can see that it's very much like the Fugu Z that was released, and I brought that one out from Basic. It was also released in Premium. And I have both of them here loose before I put it on the turntable. You can see the silhouette is essentially the same, but there are some slight differences. You can see that the mirrors are now gone, and instead is this modification to the hood, as you can see here. And I am assuming, what was the car? It was from Fast X. So again, I have no context for this model, but other than that, I think it's the same car. It's just done a little differently. I can even show the base here. They are taking some of these details away and creating almost like this canvas for all the text they need to put on. You'll see this on the other modified cars as well. Just a little bit more space. So put it on the turntable now. You can see it. It looks cool. The black 10 spokes look nice. The model looks nice. Obviously, I don't know if the modification is significant from in the movie, but obviously this is I don't know what character drives it. But that is a significant model from the movie and modified. And I don't know if we'll see it in Basic with that modification or not, with or without Fast and Furious, but we'll see. All right. The other two modified models are the two most significant models, I think, in the entire line of these like updated premium, or I'm sorry, these like upgraded Basic models. So I'm going to go with the one model that, like the El Camino, I think is one of the only ones you could consider like totally built from scratch, and that's the Mazda RX-8. Modified, right? A lot of aftermarket parts on this one. We saw Matchbox do an RX-8 as well. It seems like kind of an underappreciated Mazda sports car, but here it is. We've seen it, more stock from Matchbox, and then this modified Fast and Furious. The deco, can't stand it, but that's not a surprise. The casting, it seems a little boxy to me. Maybe it's supposed to look like that with all the aftermarket parts. Maybe it's period correct from the era that it was built, with the big spoiler and the front chin and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really into it. I'm going to put it into the new model collection because that's where it needs to go. I'm sure we'll see it in other decos. This one just looks a little bit too modified for my liking. Two that I think are very significant. We're going to start. And I noticed this one. In fact, at first I thought they were just repeats. But they're definitely not. We start with this one, the 1971 Nissan Skyline HT2000 GTR. In black. We have seen this one. It's from Fast 5. Paul Walker drove it in Brazil. That I do remember. And we've seen this released in a Fast and Furious line before. Except if you start looking, you notice that there are some differences. Let's put this one there, and let's take a look just at the loose cars for a split second. How about I show you the front, and then it's pretty obvious. This is the original Junimai casting, done as a GTX, right? Modified. He has the exterior oil cooler. He has bumpers that are the bumper deletes on both the front and back. There's just some modifications, as turns it into very much a Japanese race car, kind of a styled in his and what he loves about these kind of cars. Very much a Junimai casting. This one takes the Junimai casting and adds some GTR stock factory components. The bumpers are back, and you can see actually now that this one has same interior. I wish it was more of a stock interior as opposed to a racing interior, but it's chrome, and the reason it's chrome is because that piece then extends to the front and the back as bumpers. So the bumpers are back, not back, the bumpers have been added. The mirrors have been added on the front, and you're looking at more of a stock GTR. Like the Fast and Furious car, it was more of a stock GTR that Brian, the character Brian, was driving. But this I'm really, really excited about. I love the modified Skyline. These are different enough, too, that we can still see Junimai's done in all kinds of different ways as race cars, modified cars, you know, that very much that car culture. And we can start seeing more historic versions, like the RLC, for example, and like just these kind of clean factory versions of the GTR, which I'm super excited about. That one became pretty obvious once you saw it. You can see the headlights are there and everything else. It's the Bugatti that really surprised me. First time when I saw the Bugatti in white, I was like, this is awesome. That casting that they've modified, that just junk casting from 20 years ago, it was retired, it returned, modified, cleaner a couple years ago in that special Walmart set, and now we see that casting back again in its cleanest version yet in white, and I was super, super excited to see it. This may be my favorite version of the Veyron so far. And then as I was preparing this video, I opened it. The other one I had. We're giving that one away. But let's give you a little history lesson. There's that junker I was talking about. This is in the Walmart exclusive version from 2000, I don't know when, several years ago, in this satin red. It's actually a really cool looking execution. The casting itself is just really bad. The way the wheels sit, the way it's technically the concept of the Veyron, but it's just bad. It's just bad. And I think we all agree it's a significant model because the Bugatti is just such an interesting, cool supercar. And I'm glad Hot Wheels did it. But it's the consensus among collectors that it was never great. And we had the Speed Machines version, but it still commands a lot of money. So it was really cool. They said they were going to retire the casting. It was really cool to see it come back. And you can start seeing the differences here. If you look from the top, you can see that there's just the lines are a little bit better. The way the wheels sit is a little bit better. You know, they just sit a little more flush from the front and the back. It just has more of a sporty look. That backside is so much better on the new one. And so it was nice because I was like, I even talked about this model as a one-hit wonder when I did the one-hit wonder videos. And, you know, was like, well, so far we've only seen it once in this Walmart set, and it looks really cool in black with the orange trim, but I wonder if we'll see this casting again, and I assumed we would. But guess what? This is still a one-hit wonder. I thought it was new. I thought it would remain new, but there's been even more modifications. And we'll start, if you look at the front grille, that's where I noticed it. Look at the base. You can see that this now front of the new one wraps all the way around. You can see that the chassis are different. And then the changes started really coming through. You can see like the shape of the casting is different. From the top, you can see that the engine is done. It's a little smaller, but it's actually more proportioned when you start looking at the back as well. Look at the back of this one and how it just kind of wraps around the wheel. Look at the back of this one, and you can see that the lines are more accurate when it comes to what the back of the Bugatti Veyron looks like. It just starts becoming more and more clear. There's even mirrors on this one. That this is I don't know if it's totally built from scratch, but it is a brand new casting, and it is far better than even this newer version, which is far better than the old version. So we have something completely new, and I would say we can very safely say now that we have a brand new, clean version of the Bugatti Veyron, very much in tune with the EB110 and the Chiron after that. This thing might be the best Bugatti casting they've done because it just finally looks right. They had to remove some pieces and everything else, but this thing is awesome. This by far is the #1 casting of this whole set. The best thing that we've gotten from the set. I think this takes the top spot. I think the Skyline takes the second spot because these are significant castings from JDM. The other one from Supercars that we're going to be able to see move into premium, move into other basic lines, and we're going to see some really significant cars come from them. I think the Evo's a great one. I think that's probably #3. I like the El Camino. The Lamborghini is cool, but your top 3 are definitely the Veyron #1, the Skyline #2, and the Evo. You guys can tell me if you agree with me. There you go. Very, very nice set, I think. Lots and lots of repeats. I think that's going to come with the territory for them to get their value in the licensing. I don't like it, but I don't see why, it's a big reason to complain because we do get some new stuff and it's like you don't collect it. People think that I just praise Mattel. I just don't talk about the stuff too much that I don't like. And I think we can kind of approach this collection the same way. If you don't like it, you don't get it. And that's where I'm at. But there are a few cars here that I'm very, very happy have been made. You guys tell me what you think. See me on Saturday on Whatnot, and then I'll get you that premium preview here very, very soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.